Hi, I'm Pastor Cody, one of the pastors here at Parker United Methodist Church. And today I come to you from our nursery. It also doubles as a preschool classroom during the school year. And I thought it was fitting to come into this space. Come into this place in which our childhood learning begins. As I have come and visited this room over the years, I have been able to see so many fun things, so many beautiful smiles, so many beautiful lessons, but I've also been able to see some of those pesky ways in which kids are trying to learn their boundaries, trying to explore the world. And by that, I mean one kid has a toy and the other kid is going to take it. Or one kid is sitting in a chair that another kid wants to sit in. Have you ever experienced that? Right? Getting along is one of these lifelong skills that we are continually working on. And a lot of times we think about children being the ones who have a hard time getting along. We think about these silly fights that they have over who is my friend today, and I want this purple sippy cup, and you can't have that, that's mine. And we think that that is really cute and really funny, and we try to help them learn that there's another way. But if we really open our eyes, we see the same types of things happening in our adult world, right? I'm supposed to be in front of you in this line. I was supposed to get the first table that was available. I was supposed to be able to fill in the blank. And so we're constantly trying to figure out how to get along with one another. On Sunday, Pastor Laura was sharing with us about the movie West Side Story and reflecting on the ways in which she saw God, ourselves, and humanity within this story. It comes from the play of Romeo and Juliet by William Shakespeare, where you have two families that are divided. You have two clans of people, two gangs of people who are at war with one another. And Pastor Laura reflected on how we all, from the beginning of time, have this way of othering each other, right? Putting each other in different camps, figuring out who is friend and who is not, who is our brother or sister and who is a stranger. It has happened from the beginning of time, not only within Scripture, but also within us as well, as little children all the way through adulthood. This is one of those human conditions that we are continually working with and through, trying to understand how we might be able to stop seeing our differences and maybe see the ways in which we are alike. Romeo and Juliet starts off with this huge, horrible fight between two families. And I can't help but think about our own society and the ways in which we are continually putting ourselves in different camps, right? Different political systems, different churches, different beliefs, different values. We are continually dividing each other. When my kids were little and they would fight over the stupidest things, I remember trying to get them just to sit and hold hands, to try to remind them that they are brothers and that they are there for each other and they love each other. But as they were holding hands, all I got were tears and pouty faces because they didn't want to get along. How is that any different from us, right? We might understand the value of getting along with one another, but it is so hard, and we don't want to let go of our ability to be right. We don't want to let go of our feelings of righteousness. We want to make sure that we are on the right path and that there are others on a different path. There's this wonderful children's book that was written by Kristen Bell and Benjamin Hart. It's called The World Needs More Purple People. On Sunday, I mentioned about how people were wearing either blue or pink, but really that middle color is purple. Purple, where we set aside our differences and we come together. She writes in here, purple is a magic color made when red and blue work together. I think all the best things in the world are purple. But what does that have to do with people? Well, if you're asking that question, she writes, you are on your way to becoming a purple person. And then she gives these steps to be a purple person. 1, ask regular, really great questions, right? Try to understand the world that you live in. Try to understand the people that you are around. For instance, she writes about how, hey, Dad, how far away is outer space? Or have you ever met a dolphin? Or how many dolphins live in outer space? Well, those are pretty silly questions. But if we think about how we can ask questions of each other, tell me about your childhood. Tell me about how you came to believe that. Tell me about how you see God in the midst of your life. These are questions that open us up to curiosity and wonder and help set aside our judgment and help us be more open into the way in which we might see God's image in somebody else. So number 1, ask really good questions. Step number 2 is laugh a lot. Purple people laugh a lot, Kirsten Bell writes. We're always laughing together. We laugh at books, we laugh at jokes, we laugh at donkey dances and hairy elephant knees, and we especially laugh at Grandpa's funny noises. People who laugh, it helps us remember that we share so much in common and we forget those things that make us different. Right? If we're able to see a commonality, be able to joke around with one another, it lets down our guards and we're able to understand each other in a whole new way instead of that we are enemies. So laugh a lot. And step 3 is use your voice and don't lose your voice. So use your voice to sing, to give good ideas, to share your opinions. Use your voice to help somebody else. Use your voice to help somebody else be able to use their voice, right? Everyone's voice is important in a world of purple. And step 4 is work hard. Sometimes we have to work hard to be able to remain in that space where we are a purple person, where we can love other people, where we can set our differences aside. And sometimes we have to work with people who are different than us so that we can be able to understand them differently, right? If we both have a common goal of building a cabinet or cleaning out a space, if we're both focused on that goal, then the other things start to disappear. And again, we can be reminded of how we are made in God's image. Step 5, my favorite one, paint yourself purple, right? Try to remain in that purple space. Try to be a purple person. Try to understand people, to be able to ask questions, to remain curious. So maybe that's a storybook, right? But what does God actually say to us? What does Scripture say to us? Well, Colossians 3 verses 12 through 15 says this: as God's chosen ones, holy and beloved, clothe yourselves with compassion, kindness, humility, meekness, and patience. Bear with one another. And if anyone has a complaint against another, forgive each other, just as the Lord has forgiven you. So you must also forgive. Above all, clothe yourself with love, which binds everything together in perfect harmony. And let the peace of Christ rule in your hearts, to which indeed you are called in the one body. And be thankful. Clothe yourself. Color yourself purple. Clothe yourself with compassion, kindness, humility, meekness, patience. bear with one another, forgive one another, clothe yourself with love, and let the peace of Christ rule in your hearts, and be thankful. It is a tall order, and again, I think it is one that we are continually learning throughout our lives. How can we set aside our differences and love in the way that God calls us to? How can we set aside our pride and humble ourselves, understanding that we don't know everything, that we don't have all the answers? How can we put others above ourselves and forgive when we are hurt? God calls us to live differently, to live in this space of love, to live in a place in which all are welcome at the table, whether blue or pink or red, right? Whether Montague or I can't remember the other one, whether Broncos fan or not, whatever silly divisions that we have in this world, political parties, beliefs, churches, whatever that is, God calls us to go above it, to set aside all of that and to live differently. So, paint yourself purple. Be full of wonder and curiosity and see where love might take you this week.